Here's the unfiltered reason why your English speaking skills still suck. You spend a lot of time studying, trying to improve your English speaking skills, but you don't see any progress. It's disappointing and makes you feel angry. Maybe you feel like giving up. I know how this feels because I personally made a bunch of mistakes that you can avoid if you just watch this video. English used to be a huge struggle for me too, especially the pronunciation, because my first language is actually Vietnamese. And then I attended a German elementary school, so I had to learn German as my second language. So English is actually my third language. I kind of learned it in high school, but high school was not actually the reason why I became this fluent in English. It is everything that I did outside of high school that made my English so fluent. If you're anything like me, you're probably learning English in high school as well, but you don't see a lot of improvement. So let's talk about the 3 main reasons why your English speaking abilities still suck and how you can finally fix it. If you're only interested in the solutions, I put timestamps in the description box below so you can just skip around. But I think if you want to avoid these main mistakes, then you should definitely watch the whole video. First reason why your English speaking abilities still suck is that you're wasting too much time on finding the right learning strategy. This is the danger of passive learning. You're looking for quick tips. How can you learn a language in a few weeks? These type of videos are very dangerous. Most of the time you end up watching these videos without implementing the actual step because you feel like you've accomplished something after you watch these videos. After watching self-help content or tutorials, your brain also releases dopamine. So by watching these type of videos, you actually trick your brain into thinking that you accomplished something without accomplishing something.
You get what I mean?
This is just like trying to learn how to play the guitar. You can watch thousands of tutorials on the best strategy to learn a guitar or how to grip an accord, but if you don't actually grab the guitar and try to play it yourself, you will not see any progress in your guitar learning journey. That's the same with learning a language. You actually need to speak it instead of just watching this type of content. Now, I'm not saying that this content is bad in itself. What I'm saying is that if you actually watch this content, you should try to implement at least some of these tips. So try to watch these type of videos with intention, just like the video you're currently watching. If you can learn at least one thing from this video, I already feel that I accomplished something. Pick at least one thing from this video that you found helpful and try to implement it right now. The second reason is that you have these emotional blocks. Fear of judgment. What if people laugh at you? What if people think you're dumb for not being able to speak fluently in English? What if they think I'm stupid? I actually had this when I started my English speaking journey because my Vietnamese accent was pretty strong. There was even a point where my friends joked around and said that I kind of sound like Jackie Chan. Although I knew it was a joke, it kind of made me feel angry and it hurt my pride, which is why I promised to myself to put in the reps to finally become fluent in English. Another thing I realized is that the more you expose yourself to speaking with others, you will realize that most people are actually not as judgmental as you think. Most people are more supportive than judgmental. I mean, how would you personally react if somebody would speak in your native language and they make small mistakes because they're trying to learn it right now? If somebody would speak to me in German or Vietnamese and they make a lot of mistakes, I wouldn't be judgmental. I would respect them for trying and I would try to support them as best as I can. Ask yourself, would you be judgmental? Probably not. And if you would be judgmental, then you need to stop it because this is just me. And listen, even if they judge you, they will probably forget it after 1 or 2 minutes. Picture this, if you would see a naked man outside on the streets, you would probably judge him. But after just 1 or 2 minutes, you would move on, think about the next task in your life and just forget about this crazy man. So try to overcome all of these mental blocks that are holding you back and realize that they are just mental constructs. The human brain is designed to try to protect you, which is why whenever they see some sort of discomfort, they come up with all sorts of excuses. But reality is a lot different. Stop wasting your time thinking in these mental blocks and start living your life. Number 3, your why to learn a new language is too weak. What are your reasons to learn English, to learn a new language? Whenever I ask this question, there's a ton of different answers and none of them are really convincing to me. And if they're not convincing to me, they're not convincing to you. Some say, oh, I want to be able to watch my favorite Netflix show without subtitles. Others say, oh, I want to impress my friends. In full transparency, none of these reasons are strong enough to keep you motivated. You won't stick to learning a new language if these are the reasons you're learning the language. My reason to become fluent in English was because it was mandatory for my survival. At some point down my career, I know that I want to be a content creator living in the United States. It was mandatory for my survival and for my business, for my social life, to be able to speak English fluently. I had no choice but to become really good in English. So when you burn down all the bridges behind you and there's no choice left, your why will be very strong and you will not struggle with finding motivation. Now that we clarified the mistakes that you need to avoid, let's talk about specific things that you can do right now to improve your English speaking skills. But firstly, we should clarify how much time you should spend on learning English every single day. Obviously, the more time you invest into your English speaking skills, the faster you will progress. I know we're all busy, we're sometimes lazy, easy. So my golden rule is to spend at least 15 minutes every single day to learn English. It is way more efficient to immerse yourself for a small amount of time every single day instead of a big amount of time for just one day in a week. Because that way your English proficiency goes into your long-term memory. For a detailed step-by-step guide on how you can squeeze in 15 minutes every single day into your daily routine, check out my latest video. Let's talk about how you can practice English. There's a lot of different methods, but if your goal is to finally be able to speak English fluently, you need to start speaking more. There's different ways how you can do it, but here are the 3 main things that I personally did. Number 1, speak to yourself and actively record yourself. That way you can listen to specific mistakes that you make, and maybe you can ask one of your friends what they think, what kind of pronunciation mistakes you did, or what you can improve on. And try to find somebody who can give good feedback and who doesn't make you feel like a piece of shit. Listening to yourself will always feel cringe in the beginning, but I promise you it's a complete game changer. Number 2, sign up on a free Tandem app. For example, HelloTalk or Tandem, where you can find native speakers. Basically, you're teaching them your native language, whereas they teach you their native language. It's an exchange. And it's just a fun way to make a new friend and also practice English with a native speaker. Number 3 is paying a tutor. And that is my favorite option so far if you have the money to pay for it. One lesson ranges anything from $10 to $20, and I personally use italki for this, and no, this video is not sponsored by them yet. The cool thing about this is that you don't have to teach them another language, but you can solely focus on learning English. And because you're paying them, you have the motivation to actually stick to it and actually show up. They'll give you detailed feedback and just show you what mistakes you make and work on your pronunciation. And over time, this has been a game changer for my Korean as well, which is the language I'm currently practicing. I hope this video made you realize that the only thing that is stopping you from becoming more fluent in English is yourself, your mental blocks, all the excuses that your brain is coming up with. But the beauty of this is that you are also the person who can change it. So take at least one thing that I mentioned in this video and apply it to your learning routine. If you can just do that, I consider my job already successful. If you don't want to miss out on more language related videos, please consider subscribing, and I see you in my next video.